I've had so many people reach out to me and ask me if I can explain what happened with the DFL endorsement, and that's what this video is going to do. I am just explaining the timeline of events. I'm not trying to persuade you to believe one side is right or wrong. My name is Jazz Hampton, and I am running for mayor of Minneapolis. The DFL convention happened in July. That's where 800 delegates, don't get me started on that process and how you become a delegate. That's for another video. Historically, it's been really hard for people to be endorsed in the mayoral election because you have to have 60% of the 800-ish delegates that show up to vote. And I want to be clear, there was a lot of issues that were raised in this challenge, but I'm going to focus on just the first vote for the mayoral election. 800 delegates had a chance to vote, and you took your phone out and you pointed at a QR code on the Jumbotron when you're sitting in the Target Center. Only 577 votes were tabulated, and that created some concern. A lot of things happened in between there. People raised challenges. People were wondering what happened to all of the other votes. Here's how the voting works. You have less than 20% in the first round. They remove you from the next round of voting. Here's the issue though. In this first round, the electronic system that was counting all of the votes had an error. And the 176 votes were sitting there and should have been counted. It changed the percentages. One of the candidates had above 20%, and because of the miscalculation, they did not know that they should have been in the next round of voting. So rather than having 3 candidates in the next round of voting, there were only 2, literally taking one of the candidates' name off of the next round. I just want to make one thing really clear. This was just an error of the system that was counting the votes, which created several victims. And that is the problem here. Our campaign spent over $10,000 to be a part of this convention. Senator Fate received the nomination and has now been rescinded. Another candidate was supposed to be on that next ballot, and he didn't have the opportunity to do that. And some people will say, I feel like you weren't listening to my vote because the person they voted for was endorsed and they took that away. Other people will say, my vote didn't count quite literally because I was one of the 176 that wasn't counted. This issue is what the entire battle was about. All of these things are true, and to pretend like all of that is not true is wrong. It is nuanced and difficult. So with all of that, the DFL then has to make a decision. So the Minnesota State DFL revoked the endorsement, citing, quote, substantial failures in the convention's voting process. That is what happened.